Let's take a look at how far Iran has advanced in its nuclear program, why the process of turning uranium into enriched uranium and creating nuclear weapons is so complex, and delve into all the details. For any nuclear bomb or reactor, the uranium used is uranium-235, commonly called yellowcake due to its yellow color. Although, once stored, it reacts with oxygen and other elements, sometimes taking on a greenish tint. Uranium is often referred to as the metal of hope, or sometimes people confuse with the fuel of the future, although hydrogen is more commonly called the fuel of the future, while uranium is simply called the metal of hope. Uranium is one of the most expensive materials in the world, although its price is not typically disclosed on the international market. But why is it so costly? Natural uranium mostly consists of uranium-238, which is practically unusable. About 99.3% of uranium found in nature is uranium-238, meaning most of the uranium available isn't useful for nuclear applications. What's needed is uranium-235, but in nature, this only constitutes 0.7% of uranium, meaning that from 100 kilograms of uranium, only about 700 grams of usable uranium-235 can be obtained. Uranium-235 and uranium-238 are mixed together, and only the uranium-235 is required. To separate them, a device called a centrifuge is used, where uranium is rotated at high speed, similar to how butter is separated from milk. This process, known as centrifugal force, pushes uranium-238 to the sides, while uranium-235 gathers in the middle and can be extracted. To aid in this process, a gas called uranium hexafluoride is added, and the mixture is spun at a precise speed for optimal separation. Iran used similar nuclear techniques, but its centrifuge computers were hacked by Israel. The computers that controlled the spinning were altered, fluctuating the speed, disrupting the purity of uranium-235 extracted, and thwarting Iran's attempts to create a high-quality nuclear program. Once the desired uranium-235 is obtained, it can be further enriched. If enriched to about 5%, it can power nuclear reactors. If enriched to 90%, it can be used to make a nuclear bomb. Uranium-235 provides immense energy. 1 kilogram of uranium-235 can produce the same energy as 2.7 million kilograms of coal. The X-ray that is emitted reaches around 250 roentgens. The unit of X-ray measurement is Röntgen, and exposure to 250 Röntgens of X-ray is extremely dangerous. The X-rays we typically get are around 6 to 10 Röntgens. At 250 Röntgens, survival is impossible as such a high amount of X-ray exposure would tear through body tissues. In addition, gamma rays are also emitted from this. Gamma rays are so lethal that they are used to destroy cells. A low dose of gamma rays is used on cancer-affected areas to kill only the cancerous cells. However, the gamma rays emitted from such a bomb are of such high power that they can destroy the entire body. The most surprising thing is that we cannot see gamma rays or X-rays. They pass through invisibly, creating deadly risks without any visible sign. Just like the coronavirus, which was invisible yet could infect and cause death suddenly. If one is exposed to gamma rays, they may not immediately realize it, but death can occur within 10 to 15 days or about a week later. A nuclear bomb is not just an explosive but rather a type of pollution known as nuclear fallout. When it detonates on the ground, its harmful radiation contaminates nearby areas, houses, and streets. Its impact diminishes as you go further from the explosion site, which is why nuclear bombs are detonated at a height rather than on the ground. When a nuclear bomb is dropped, it has a detonator that measures altitude. Using a barometer, it is set to explode at around 600 meters of altitude. The bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan were also detonated at this height to cause maximum destruction. Such an explosion spreads radiation in surrounding areas, and its effects can last for up to 30,000 years. This does not mean the impact ends after the explosion. Instead, its effects persist across multiple generations. As a result, it alters the genes, genetics, and other characteristics of the affected area. Iran is currently working on building a nuclear bomb. According to internal sources, Iran has already completed it, much like how India had developed a nuclear bomb long ago but was waiting for the right time for testing due to political clearances. During Atal Bihari Vajpayee's tenure, India received full political clearance to proceed. Similarly, Iran has nearly finished its bomb, with assistance from Russia. Russia has helped because it knows that if Iran fails, it will lose a strong ally, as China is largely unconcerned with global politics. So, maintaining a balance with Iran is essential for Russia. However, if Iran has indeed developed a nuclear bomb, its biggest adversary would be Israel. Israel has an Iron Dome defense system, which can intercept and destroy missiles, making it difficult for Iran to attack Israel successfully. But Israel's weakness lies in its inability to counter hypersonic missiles, which travel at extremely high speeds. Knowing this, Russia has provided Iran with hypersonic missiles. To test whether these hypersonic missiles are effective or if Israel can counter them, Iran handed over the missiles to Houthi rebels in Yemen. The Houthis then launched a hypersonic missile from Yemen towards Israel, and it successfully hit its target in Israel. Now imagine, in that missile, if there isn't any dangerous explosive, Israel would be safe, right? But if that same missile were filled with a nuclear bomb and then launched, what could you do in retaliation? Even if it fell midair, everything would be over. This is an extremely dangerous thing, something Israel has no solution for. There is a fear of a nuclear attack between these two countries. Israel already possesses nuclear weapons. In international relations, it's never considered that someone is a permanent friend or permanent enemy. Iran's closest ally before Khomeini was, in fact, Israel. If there was any other close ally of Iran, it was America, until Khomeini's government came into power. This is something from the 1967 era, about 50 years ago. Nowadays, if we look at international relations, policies do not get established or change in 2 years. It requires looking back over a long experience of 50 years for policies to develop. Now, what is Iran providing to Russia? Iran is supplying Russia with drones and ballistic missiles at a low cost, because Iranian engineers are able to make missiles and drones very cheaply. Now these drones are bombarding Ukraine, so Russia benefits from Iran, and Iran benefits from Russia. Here, Russia is using Iranian weapons against Ukraine, and Iran is using weapons supplied by Russia against Israel, creating a mutual alliance between them. If we look at Israel, though, it's very powerful, and its intelligence agency operates mercilessly. Israel doesn't show any mercy to its enemies. If Israel were to become weak, it wouldn't survive. To stay alive, Israel has to constantly defend itself, because otherwise, the Arab nations will not leave it in peace. In the past year, since the events of October 7, Arab nations have incited people to attack and fight the Israeli army, to wipe out the entire army, do anything, this does not matter. But Hamas killed Israeli civilians celebrating a festival, old people, women, and in return, Israel has been retaliating continuously for a year now. I would say both sides should respect humanity. The point here is that armies should fight each other, not civilians, but once war breaks out, none of this matters. Israel is targeting and eliminating its enemies one by one. The chief of Hamas had gone to Iran for friendship, and he was killed there. Israel killed its enemy on Iranian soil. The Israeli intelligence agency Mossad had planted bombs in the hotel where the Hamas leader was staying, specifically in the corner room he liked with a good view. They had placed bombs in all 3 rooms, one on each side and one in the center. The room where he stayed was set to explode, and that's exactly where it happened. Haniyeh, the leader, was killed, leaving Hamas leaderless. Hamas used to target Israel from below, while Hezbollah, based in Lebanon, targeted from above. Israel killed Nasrallah, the chief of Hezbollah. Although Nasrallah survived, he was inside a bunker when a missile was fired. The missile exploded in double layers, first entering the bunker and then exploding. Nasrallah survived again, but Israel filled the missile with poisonous gas, and from exposure to that gas, death occurred there. Israel's action was dangerous, but if this technology using poisonous gas fell into the hands of terrorists, they would mix poison in the bombs and blast them. The blast itself would kill, and the added poison would worsen it. The world is a dangerous place. Look, guns were invented, dynamite was invented to dig tunnels, but what did they start using it for? For explosions. Iran and Israel are targeting their enemies. They dealt with Hamas below, dealt with Hezbollah above, and even fired missiles at Yemen's Houthi rebels. These are just a few examples. The main purpose of this video is to understand Iran's nuclear program, which we have covered fully. Thanks for watching.